What's up guys, it's Will back again, and today's review is The Lost City of Z. The Lost City of Z is a biographical adventure drama film that was directed by James Gray and is based on the 2009 nonfiction book of the same name written by David Grann. Well, this film takes place in the early 1900s and primarily follows Charlie Hunnam's character Percy Fawcett. Percy is an English explorer who spends the majority of the film journeying through the Amazon in search of a mysterious lost city referred to as Zed. This city is of importance to him because Percy believes that the discovery of this ancient civilization would have major historical ramifications and at the same time cement his legacy as an all-time great explorer. And the rest of the film is spent watching Percy and his crew explore the dangerous Amazon in search of the lost city of Z, where we also get a glimpse into Percy's family life and how his loved ones are affected by his lengthy expeditions. So I knew absolutely nothing about this film before it came out. I saw no trailers, knew nothing about the true story and historical figures, nothing. But then I saw a film called The Lost City of Z was getting stellar reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and I thought to myself, maybe I need to check this one out because a lot of the critics are praising it. But in all honesty, this has to be one of the most baffling scores that I've ever seen on Rotten Tomatoes, because this is a terrible, terrible film. I did watch a trailer before I headed to the theater, and I honestly was pretty excited about what that trailer showed me. This looked like a dramatic and thrilling adventure story about a man with an abundance of ambition that was following his dream of exploration. The problem is that this story will never hook you in any significant way. You would think with a runtime of roughly 2 hours and 20 minutes that eventually you'd become invested in these characters, but it just never happens because this story feels more like a history lesson than a film. I mean, when you watch those history videotapes in high school history class, did you ever find yourself being super invested in the figures being discussed? No, then you won't with this film either because it feels the exact same. This has to be one of the most boring films I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, I was absolutely shocked at how uninspiring this film was. I simply could not believe my eyes because the reviews were stellar, and I was sitting there like, am I watching the right movie? I'd rather sit through Rings and Resident Evil the Final Chapter twice over before I watch The Lost City of Z again. That should give you an idea of how boring this movie is. And this is also one of the ugliest movies that I've ever seen before. There are entire shots that are completely out of focus. The editing is absolutely dreadful by professional cinematic standards, and the biggest problem of all is the absolutely horrendous lighting. This is one of the darkest, not in tone, in lighting films that I've ever seen ever. It's so dark that like 90% of the time you can barely even see the expressions on the characters' faces. It's almost impossible to first and foremost understand these characters and what they're going through, but more importantly, it's often difficult to tell what's just going on in general. It might be the most poorly lit movie I've ever seen before. It was remarkably bad and diminishes the overall experience an insane amount. And let me tell you, this movie drags. Boy, does it drag. If you ignore my review and go see this one in theaters, you're gonna either walk out of the theater or be checking your phone constantly for the time because you'll just want it to be over. And when it finally does end, you're going to be like, wow, that's it? The ending of this film, while seemingly historically accurate, is one of the worst, most anticlimactic endings ever. It's brutal. As you can tell, I'm having a really difficult time finding anything positive to say about this movie. The best thing I can say about it is that the acting is occasionally good. Charlie Hunnam is okay in this movie. He's not the most compelling protagonist ever, but occasionally he's pretty good. Tom Holland is fine as Percy's son Jack, and Sienna Miller is actually the best of the group as Percy's wife Nina. Robert Pattinson is even in this movie, and he does a good job too. These performances aren't enough to save the sinking ship, but they do okay. But overall, The Lost City of Z is a major disappointment and not nearly as good as the critics on Rotten Tomatoes are telling you it is. I did think it occasionally had some good acting performances, but that's honestly it for the pros. As for the cons, I thought it had an incredibly boring story that was severely lacking in drama, some extremely ugly cinematography, some uninspiring and uninteresting characters, and a terrible ending. I'm gonna give The Lost City of Z a 2.5 out of 10, and definitely recommend you do not spend your hard-earned money to go see this one in theaters. So did you guys see The Lost City of Z yet? What did you think of it? And if not, let me know why not. And also let me know your favorite historical drama film. There's a lot better ones out there than this, I'll tell you that much. That's all for now though. This is WillFoxification signing off. See you in the next review.